One of Asia's largest development lenders says its new climate financing program could help unlock funding for projects throughout the region. The Asian Development Bank saying the facility could raise $15 billion in new loans by using loan guarantees to free up capital from its own sovereign loan portfolio. The announcement came at the beginning of the Development Bank's annual meetings in Incheon in Korea. Trade relations and the economic picture across Asia and the Pacific are expected to be a focus of the multi-day gathering. Let's go over to Zhou Zhanghan in our Taipei bureau. Zhou, the ADB calling this a historic level of climate funding. What kind of need is there in Asia for something of this nature?
Well, Asia is one of the most vulnerable regions to climate change risks, facing more extreme incidents such as storms, floods, and landslides. In this region, annual temperatures have risen faster in the last 30 years than in any other region. Ironically, the same region is responsible for about half of global annual carbon dioxide emissions from the sharp increase of Asia's production, reflecting the pace of this area's economic growth and manufacturing. But economies can use different energy sources and production technologies, so trade and investment policy should be part of the climate action.
So these meetings will focus on Asian economies. How would you describe the state of the region at this moment? The worst of COVID is over, but of course costs are rising in many areas.
Well, the IMF just raised today its forecast for Asian economic growth to 4.6% in 2023, saying this region will be the most dynamic one this year. The main reason is the recovery of China and India's economies after COVID. Both are expected to grow by more than 5% this year. But there are still risks in rising costs, as you mentioned. This is due to strong domestic demand, and inflation is likely to remain high. That is why the IMF urged Asian central banks to maintain a tight monetary policy to reduce inflation and warned that the failure to do so could be very costly. But generally speaking, the outlook is not too bad.
We also saw Tuesday that ADB President Masatsugu Asakawa warned that the trade dispute between the U.S. and China is a problem for the entire region. Can we really say what is at stake in Asia when we look at this kind of growing protectionism we're seeing, especially between the U.S. and China?
Well, Stephen, the tense situation between the U.S. and China will definitely undermine free trade, the economic recovery of the Asia-Pacific region that many people are hoping to see. This kind of political instability affects consumer and business confidence and even reduces consumption. Any form of protectionism will lead to a long-term trade disruption. If it continues, countries will have to put supply chain strengthening and other economic activities before their net zero carbon emission goals and affect global action against climate change that we just talked about.
Zhou Zhanghan in Taipei, thank you.